which is going to be about effective networking. And I'm going to be sharing with you the 4 most powerful ways that you can introduce yourself so that you are generating leads for your business. And if you do any type of networking, so whether that is you go to conferences, you go to events, even just in person when you're out and about, you have a few seconds to be able to make that connection with the person in such a way that they want to take it to the next level with you. And that's the training that I'm going to be giving you today on our time together. But first, I want to just go a little bit into my story because I want you to understand where I came from and how much I struggled with this. So my story begins like every other story does. Once upon a time, there was a girl whose mother died when she was 4 years old. Now you would think that having a mother die wouldn't have such an incredible impact, but it did. But not in ways that you would think. Of course, growing up without a mother was hard, and that actually led to some situations that derailed my destiny for almost 30 years. In grade 2, I had a teacher who told me that I should not write because I was not a good writer. That wasn't the truth though, but those words that grade 2 teacher told me that I shouldn't write because I'm not a good writer, they got in my heart and they stalled me from actually becoming the person that I was meant to be, which is a publisher. Because how can you become a publisher when you don't even write? And so those words I had to learn to get rid of. And when it came to being an entrepreneur, those words carried over, and they carried over in the form of, you're not good enough. Why would anybody want to work with you? So even though I am going to go into the introductions today, I just want to take a couple of minutes and talk about the fact that if you're going to network effectively, you got to be comfortable in your own skin. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to know that what you do is valuable to a specific group of people, and that there are people on this earth that you are meant to help. Now, are you meant to help everybody? Nope. But there is a specific group of people that you are meant to help. And so if you're going to network effectively, and in about 2 minutes, I'm going to start actually talking about how to introduce yourself so that you generate leads. But this is an important concept. If you don't really believe in yourself, so if deep down inside you don't believe you're worthy, then these introduction techniques probably aren't going to work the best for you. So my suggestion is this: if you know that you struggle with self-worth, then what I recommend is that you work hard to start recognizing that you were meant to make a difference in a specific group of people's lives. If you can believe that one thing, then you're going to be able to use the 4 methods I'm going to teach you in a minute effectively. So that's the foundation, is believing that you were put on this earth to help a specific group of people and that you have something special to share with them. So let's get to what you've been waiting for, and that is the 4 ways to introduce yourself. And what I would like to do is start with number 1. So I hope that you guys are taking notes here, And hopefully this will be posted and there'll be a replay that you guys can watch. So the first way to introduce yourself is by using a unique title. For example, when I introduce myself, hi, I'm Kim Thompson-Pinder, the Extraordinary Word Ninja. It grabs attention. You see, when most people go to introduce yourself, you see one of two extremes. You see people who are like, well, I'm Kim, and well, like I kind of, and it takes like about 5 minutes for them to actually tell you what it is they do. And then on the other end, you've got people who are like, hi, I'm Kim Thompson-Pinder. I'm the Extraordinary Word Ninja, and you need to buy my products, and here's why. And, you're just like, ugh. But if you introduce yourself in an interesting way, then people want to know more about what you do. Now, here's a tip and a trick for making this even more effective. When introductions are being made, let the other person introduce themselves first. And there's a really strong reason for that. In that conversation, you want to get to know them a bit. You want to ask questions. You want to find out more about them. You want to know, is this person a good potential fit for your business? Now, if they're not, it doesn't mean you don't have a conversation with them, because making connection is incredibly important, and there will be people in your business who are not clients, but they become referral partners, they become friends, they become mentors, they become your support system. So every conversation that you have at a networking event is valuable. But in terms of growing your business and getting new clients and customers, always let the other person speak first and find out if this person is a good potential fit. Then when you introduce yourself, you can customize your introduction to fit that person. So the first way to introduce yourself with, a very interesting title, because when you go in and you say, I am a or I am an, you're grouping yourself with every other person who does that exact same thing. And what you don't know is what is their perception. So let's say that you're a life coach. Well, what is their perception of a life coach? When you say I am a life coach, you get grouped in with all the other life coaches. And if they have a bad perception of what a life coach is, then they're going to tune you out before they've even had a chance to get to know you. So you don't want to use the words I am okay, and just put like life coach or whatever. You can say I am but there better be a very interesting title underneath that. That's why I introduced myself as the Kim Thompson-Pinder, the Extraordinary Word Ninja. Because people go, wait, what's a word ninja? So it invites conversation because people now want to know more about what it is that I do. So what is an interesting title for you to come up with? So don't use the word life coach, business coach. Come up with something interesting. List all the things that you do and come up with different words. Go to thesaurus.com and look up the word coach. Maybe there's different words up there that you can use instead of the word coach. Use a descriptive word. I am the extraordinary. Okay? And make sure that you can say it and you can own it, because that's important. You need to be able to own that you are this person. And I am the Extraordinary Word Ninja. I can legitimately own that. I have written over 100 books. I write thousands of words a day sometimes. I can honestly say I'm the Extraordinary Word Ninja because I am. I'm not saying it in a proud way. It's just, that's my truth. So you want to make sure that when you use that title, that you can say it with confidence, not with ego, not proud, not boasting, not, you know, I'm better be all than everybody else. But you do have to be able to say it with confidence and believe that this is who you are and how you help people. So that's the first way to introduce yourself. And by the way, you want to stick around till I get to number 4, because 4 is the most powerful way, and it's actually the way that's going to generate the most leads for your business. So once I get through the first 3, I'm going to also share, before I go on to the 4th one, how do you use it then to generate leads? So let's get through the first 3. So the second one is, how do you help people? If you have a very confusing title, or your title contains words that are not generally known, and that even includes words like holistic, even though it's a word that is now becoming more popular, most people may have heard the word, but they still don't understand what that word means. So I've got a title that could be confusing, misunderstood, uses words that are not commonly known. I mean, I was at a networking event back in September, and this lady who introduced herself was very high up in the medical field. So she had a very technical, medically termed title that nobody knew what it meant. And she wondered why people weren't interested in her. Well, when you have that kind of title and you introduce yourself that way, people don't want to feel stupid. And when they don't understand, they're not going to ask you, because then they feel stupid in your eyes. And so they're not going to ask you what it is that you do. You have to make sure that before you give the title then, that you clarify what it is that you do. So you don't say, "Hi, I'm Kim Thompson-Pinder, the Extraordinary Word Ninja." You might say, "Hi, I'm Kim Thompson-Pinder, and I work with people just like you who." Now, when you've said that and you've already know who this person is, and again, that's why you have to listen to them first to know if this person's a fit, because you don't want to say a person just like you and this person's not like who you're looking for. So you want to ensure that, you've listened to them first before you use this introduction. So you could say, and this even applies even if you have a well understood title, because again, you're knocking people kind of off their game. They're expecting you to say, "Hi, I'm Kim Thompson-Pinder and I'm a publisher." Whoop-de-doo, right? You want to introduce yourself in such a way that grabs attention. That's not the same as what everybody else does. The people who grab attention are the ones who get results. If you don't grab attention in that first 30 seconds to a minute, then I can tell you, people just kind of go into, "Oh yeah, he's she's oh yeah, I know them." And they're not really listening to you. So you've got to get that engagement right from the very start. Because if you don't, you've already lost them in many cases. So you want to tell them how you can help them. So let's take the example of real estate, for instance. And it's just for example, because you can apply it to whatever it is that you do, even as a coach. Instead of introducing yourself as a real estate agent, you could say, "I work with people just like you who are looking to live in their dream home and want to be able to do it at a price they afford. Now it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Now let's say that you're a life coach. Hi, I'm Kim Thompson-Pinder, and I work with people just like you who are looking to make massive change in their life, who are looking to live life to the fullest and just need a little bit of help to do it. Okay, so you've never used your title in there. And that's important because then people don't shut you out. And if they are a person who's looking to make change and they haven't been able to do it so far, they're going to think to themselves, oh, wow, this person can help me make the changes that I want in life so that I can live successfully. So if you've been watching this and you've been enjoying this so far, can you show me some love? Can you give me some thumbs up or a heart or something? I just want to see who's out there and who's appreciating this. So by telling them how you help them, you start to make them think, oh, wow, this is someone who I could work with. When you just introduce yourself, thank you for the thumbs up. When you introduce yourself and people tune you out, you've lost that opportunity. So here's number 3. And number 3 kind of is very counterintuitive to what you've been taught how to introduce yourself. Because you're actually going to ask them a question back. And you think, well, how is that introducing yourself then? It is and it isn't. Again, you want to do something that other people don't do. You don't want people always to know to give your title right away, because people have preconceived notions of what your title is. So you want to get them off kilter. You want to get them interested. And sometimes you just need more information. Or sometimes you just want to get them thinking along a different line. And Annabelle writes, thank you, Kim, useful tips. Thanks so much, Annabelle. I appreciate that. So by asking a question back at them, you actually get them thinking in the way that you want them to think. So an example of this is, as a coach, like let's say you're a life coach, you could say to them, you know, have you ever wanted to change things in your life, but you found it really hard? And you see, all of a sudden now, you've got them thinking along a specific line. You haven't told them what you do, and eventually you do tell them what you do. It's not a matter of hiding it. It's a matter of garnering interest before you tell them what you do. You want to create that relationship. You want to create that engagement. You want people interested so that when you tell them what it is you do, they're not going by their preconceived notions. They're going by what you've already told them. So when you say those kinds of things, like, you know, have you ever wanted to make change in your life, but you weren't sure how? And then they go, yeah. But you see, now it transitions. You've got their interest. So now you're going to transition that into a relationship development conversation that leads to them becoming a lead. Because again, you cannot, in today's relationship economy, you cannot go in for the kill because they just shut you off, because there's so many other people that they can go to. There was a time and place that there may have only been one life coach. So if they wanted changes, they would have had to go to you. Now there's so many coaches out there, and all they have to do, and not even your local area, just around the world, all they've got to do is go online. So if you don't capture that attention, then you want to make sure, if you don't capture that attention, you've lost them as a potential client. So what you want to do is you want to have a conversation with them. You want to find out more about what problem they're having. Where do they need help? And again, it's a conversation. It has to be natural. You have to show interest. You have to care. you can't do any of these things unless you care. You can't see people as numbers and dollar signs. It's about developing the relationship, and that's what makes these 4 introductions effective, is the fact that you're developing a relationship with this person before you're asking them for business. You're finding out about who they are, what it is that they want. You're answering questions. Make sure that in that conversation, you are providing a lot of value. Don't be afraid to give the answers away. When I work with my book clients, they say, well, I don't want to tell everything in the book, because if I tell them everything in the book, they won't come to me. And that's not the truth. 97% of people are not self-motivated enough to be able to do most of these big radical changes on their own. They need the help. They want to know how to do it, but they don't want to do it on their own. So they will still come to you because you've proven that you're that expert, that you're that authority, that you're that person that could help them, and you've proven that you care. You see, when you provide value, you prove that you care about them as a person more than you do about the dollar signs. But then the dollar signs come because you have cared about them as a person, and they choose to use you because you have proven that you are the best one to help them. So that conversation has to be genuine, has to be value-packed. You have to show you care. You have to give at least one really good, actionable tip that they can take home and get started with. And that's important too, because again, it's about creating value and relationship. But here's how you convert them into a lead. At the end of that conversation, and again, when you're at networking events, that conversation is not usually too long. Maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes at most. So it's not like you're having long conversations with people. You want to say to them, you know what, I really feel for you, or whatever phrase that you use. And I'd really like to help you. But, obviously at this networking event, there's not really enough time. And, we've got to be here, there, and everywhere. I was just wondering, I'd really like to talk to you a little bit more about this problem that you're having. And I think I've got a few solutions for you. Do you think we maybe book like a half an hour call and I can share some things with you? And do you notice how I'm saying it? Very calm, very cool. My body language is very relaxed. Imagine me standing, just kind of relaxed and talking to you. You want your body language to say, I don't care whether you take this call or not. I'm calling to help you. It's your choice whether you want the help. Right? That's the attitude that you want. You don't want to come through as pushing for the sale. At this point, you're still providing value. You're generating that lead, and you want that lead to be a warm lead. So what you do is you say, you know what, can we get on the phone call? And you book the call right there. You get their name, their address, their email, their phone number. You look at your calendar. Hopefully they've got their calendar with them, and you book it right there, and you try to book it within the next day or two. This is really important. The longer you wait to have that initial call, the less likely they are to turn into a client and customer. You want to get them while they're still feeling really warm and while they remember the conversation they had with you and how helpful you were to them. So you want to do that within that 1 to 2 day period. Like if it's a Friday, Monday's okay. But try for Saturday. If you work on Saturday, then try for Saturday or Sunday, whatever day. But if not, the next business day that you work. And then once you have that conversation booked, that's another whole series. And I'm not going to be covering that in today's lesson. Today's lesson is about the 4 ways to introduce yourself. But I will let you know that next conversation is, again, about providing a lot of value. And then at the end of the call, once they've really seen your value, you've already helped them, then you can make an offer to them of whatever it is and kind of proceed from there. But there's lots of different ways to have the conversation. And again, that's not what this teaching is about today. But that's about that's part of the conversion process. But again, if you can't generate leads, then how do you even take it to the next step? So have you guys been enjoying this so far? I'd love to see some likes, some loves, while I grab my book for the next part of the demonstration here. If you've been enjoying this, please give me a thumbs up. Just let me know that you're on and available. So I'll take a quick sip here. Now, the fourth way. This is powerful, incredibly effective. And I have generated so much business by using this method or a very similar method to generate leads for my business. The fourth way, thanks Annabelle. She says, yes, I'm on, available, and drinking tea with you. Thank you so much, Annabelle. I'm glad that you've been enjoying this. The fourth way to introduce yourself is with your signature book. Sorry there. So I've got my book here. I'm going to be publishing it soon on Amazon. I've been actually using it as a giveaway, and I've decided it's time for it to go up for sale. But it's called 31 Productivity Hacks for the Busy Entrepreneur. And I'm just using this book as an example, but right now I'm actually writing my true signature book, which is called Author to Authority. And so let's pretend that this book is Author to Authority. I don't have the cover printed yet to be able to show you. But it doesn't really matter what this book is. It's just about how you use the book. So you may be wondering, use a book to build your business? Yes. And it's very effective. And just before I get into the demonstration, I want to explain one perception to you. And it is just a perception, but it's a wonderful one. And if you use it correctly, it's going to build your business faster. The perception is that authors are experts, and they're experts above other people who do the same thing. So let me give you an example. I have a friend and a client. Now, when this happened to her, I didn't know her yet, but now she is a client of mine and a good friend. Anyway, this lady had contracted hepatitis as a child and from a blood transfusion. So she has lived all of her life with hepatitis. And it's not an easy disease to live with. And now there's some cures, so she's pretty well cured of it. But she probably lived almost 50 years with this disease. And so she learned many ways to be able to live successfully with it. She learned what medications work, what medications don't work, what things, natural things work, what lifestyle changes can you make. She learned a whole lot. And she hit a point where she wanted to share that knowledge with other people. And so she decided to write a book about it. Now, here's where things get interesting. She was just so excited about writing this book. I mean, she was just writing it to help other people who had hepatitis. She had no game plan for this book. She just figured it would be really good. You know, people were always asking her, and she thought if she could put it in book form, she could give them the book or they could buy the book. And, you know, she didn't have to spend hours explaining the same thing over and over again. It would all be in writing. Well, she started to share that she was writing this book, and she'd only just begun to write it. But what happened was that she ended up on radio, she ended up on television, and she ended up in one of my country's biggest hepatitis conferences as a speaker. And this was a conference that doctors had been trying to get on that stage, and they couldn't. And she did. Why? Because she was writing the book on hepatitis. She hadn't even finished it yet. She was just writing it, and she could prove that she was writing it. And they had her on stage over doctors. The perception is when you're an author, no matter what else it is that you do, if you author a book on your expertise, your field of knowledge, your business, however it is that you help people, people will choose you over someone who has 20, 25 year plus more experience than you do. And here's the thing. It's just about having a book. So Annabelle says, loving your stuff. Are you going to stick around for my 3 p.m. starting now? Annabelle, unfortunately, I'm still going to be going for quite a while. I will try to get on yours soon. Thanks. So here's how you introduce yourself with a book. And I'm going to do this one quickly. So when someone has introduced yourself and they finally ask you what it is you do, you can say, hi, my name's Kim and I'm the Extraordinary Word Ninja, but I'm also the author of the book Author to Authority. And you want to have a copy of your book with you that's kind of ratty, tatty, well used, well worn. You don't want a really nice copy. You know, like you can rip the cover, you can kind of really bend up the pages. You want a well-worn copy, something that other people may not want. And what you're going to do is you're going to offer them the book. Then you're going to, when they say they want the book, you're going to take it back from them. You're going to say to them, you know, I'd really love to share this copy with you, but this is my very special copy. This is my copy that was the first one on top of the book. And I'm not giving this copy away, but what I would really love to do is I would love to send you a copy in the mail. And so you get their name, address, phone number, email address, all that pertinent information, and then you've generated a lead because they want your book, and when they read your book, that's going to create relationship with them. And now you also have a reason to call them. And when you talk to them and you find out about the part of the book that's connecting with them the most, that's the area where they have the biggest amount of problem. You can provide a whole ton more value. You have a really good conversation about it. You may have a second conversation about it. And then at some point, you're going to make your offer and you're going to build your business. So I hope that you guys have found this really helpful. I would love for all of you to connect with me. If this is something that's interesting you and you want to find out more about it, or you want to find out about writing your signature book, whether I teach you how to write your book yourself or whether you want ghostwriting services, because I've worked with over 100 professionals to help them write their signature book, then please PM me. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Just stay on Facebook, click on my name, hit message, type that you want to talk about it. We will connect and we'll see if we're a good fit for each other. I will provide a ton of value in that call. I promise you. I will leave you with action steps that you are just going to enjoy. And whether we work together or not, you're going to come out of it with something of value. So don't forget to PM me and let's talk. So this is Kim Thompson-Pinder. I am the Extraordinary Word Ninja, and I'm so glad that you've enjoyed the 4 ways to introduce yourself that generates leads for your coaching business. Bye.